think we're live
So
now, right?
Hello, guys.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, is it just mentors on here? Just to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just joined. I'm trying to actually have breakfast right now. So I want to know what's actually going on. Are we presenting or what are we doing by 3?
Giwa, we are live already.
Jesus. Bro.
Okay. So welcome everyone to this is a part of our ongoing orientation that we also promised that we'll go through this week. And we had the onboarding session earlier this week. And we are going to have this session is basically to help us to know to make informed decisions about what tech parts that we are going to take. So we have parts like the design part, we have the front end, we have the back end, and even in the back end there are different languages, and front end there are different languages also designed. So you have to know a lot of what these things stand for, and because we believe that this program is made for beginners, absolute beginners. So we want to make it as easy as possible for everyone to make informed decisions. So that's the main purpose of this particular presentation, this particular program. So we're going to start by introducing you guys to mobile development. So a mentor from the mobile development will make a short presentation on what it takes to be in mobile and the opportunities and every other thing you need to know about mobile development. So in some few seconds, Abigail Noyelum will be presenting will be telling us about mobile development and all you need to know about it. So that few seconds start now. So Abigail, over to you.
Guys, so I'm actually going to be the one to handle the presentation for mobile.
Okay. So how about Ovo is going to handle the presentation. So how about you have everything set up ready? Can share your screen?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to share it now. I can't share apparently.
So Xylos, can you please give us? Okay, so you can share now.
Okay.
Okay, still looking for it. I don't know. I'm still looking for the message.
Oluchi, please, can you mute your mic?
Can you don't?
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah, guys. So I'm going to be giving the general overview for the mobile track, and yeah, so basically going to be telling you everything that it is about, but like we're not going to go too deep into we'll just be giving like a very high level overview of what it is. Yeah, so I'm going to start now. Yeah, so first is what mobile development is all about. So mobile development is basically it's basically the process of developing apps or applications for mobile devices. So those apps mainly run on mobile devices, but with some other frameworks, like they run on other devices that are not only mobile, but like, yeah, for the scope of this training, we'll be doing mostly only mobile. Yeah, so these devices are like smartphones, smartwatches, and tablets, which I'm pretty sure many people are, conversant with, because I mean, yeah. And yeah, there are a bunch of other devices too that are not very popular, like smart TVs, and even mainframes of cars these days have, displays that can run apps. And yeah, so the languages we're going to be using for the training, or yeah, the languages that are available are split into two. So we have the Java or Kotlin track and the Flutter track. So the Java or Kotlin is for native development, and Kotlin. So the Java and Kotlin track is we're going to be learning Java first, and then smoothly transition into Kotlin. So yeah, but more emphasis on Kotlin here. So Kotlin is quite a new language that was just recently built by JetBrains, and majorly used for Android development, but it is also used for a bunch of other things too. Like you can find it on the back end and other environments. And then we also have Flutter, and Dart, because Flutter is a framework and Dart is the main language that we're going to be writing for Flutter apps. It is a cross-platform development tool built for building cross-platform applications, and it was developed mainly by Google, but it is open source, so there are a bunch of developers on that end. Yeah. So next, we're going to be talking about the career opportunities that are available in mobile development field. So like, what would you be able to do after you fully learn how to be a mobile dev? Where can you work? What kind of jobs can you do, etc. So as an Android developer, because Android development is what we usually call the native development, iOS also. So as an Android developer, you'd be specializing on building applications that mainly or only run on Android devices, or other devices that are also in the Android space. So like smart TVs, smart Android cars, and stuff like that. So as we've said before, you'll be using Java or Kotlin majorly for development on that space. And iOS development, although we are not going to be teaching, we're not going to be training on iOS specifically, or like core iOS development, but it is a step that you can also take maybe after the training or whatnot. So yeah, as iOS developer is almost the same thing as Android. The only difference is that you would be, developing apps that specifically run on iPhones and whatever devices Apple decides to release in the future. And then for the last we have here is cross-platform developer. So as a cross-platform mobile developer, you would be, basically in between two worlds, or you get to have the best of both worlds. So you can write apps that would run on Android, run on iOS at the same time, if you have the right tools and devices for that. So yeah. Yes, so as I said before, it is a very high level intro to mobile dev in this training. So yeah, so that's the end of the talk. Any questions? If anybody has any questions, you can just pass them to me.
All right, about thank you very much for that presentation. I believe most people that have some questions concerning mobile development will be able to get these answered. So I encourage everybody anybody that has questions to drop their questions on the YouTube channel. We'll be taking a few of your questions now. Any question that we are not able to answer on live right now will be answered. Most people that have later on the workspace.
So just like Motun was saying, we drop your questions on YouTube, and we'll take it there, and we'll answer them as we have few minutes to answer any question you have on mobile um, development. So this is actually a general class. So I think I saw on YouTube people asking where will be when will be where is the class for UI UX coding, where is the class for back end or front end. So this is a general class for everyone, just like Xylos dropped on the Slack channel, the workspace, that this is going to be part of the general tasks that every single person on the workspace will be engaged in. So drop your questions. We'll be answering them. We'll have 10 minutes to take questions from YouTube. So please, who is taking the questions? Albert, please, there's a question here. It says, is mobile development a separate program, or is it part of UI UX design? I think anybody can answer this, but Albert, I'd like you to take that.
Yeah, so mobile development is not a part of UI UX, because UI UX is a separate track, and UI UX is, design basically. So no, it's not part of UI UX.
Okay, thank you. There's another question. What instrument do I need? Instrument. Maybe you need machete and hoe. What instrument do you need? Do I need for mobile development?
So yeah, as a mobile dev, there's nothing really special to it. It's pretty much like every other developer in this space. So I'm going to be needing your laptop or a desktop, I don't know, any computer that you have, and yeah, that should work. Any operating system also, Windows, Linux, or Mac.
Okay, so I think that answers the second question that is here. Must I have a Mac to develop Flutter apps? So you mustn't have a Mac,
no,
right?
You guys see Flutter.
Giwa, please, can you mute? Thank you very much. So for the mobile development, would we be learning the back end that is interacting with the database?
Yeah, so for mobile development, yeah, we'll be learning about how you can basically work with REST APIs. So like how you can, interact with the backend side of things.
Yeah, so that question answers that. So get ready to be resting enough with the REST APIs. Other than using the Java for mobile app application, can one also use it for web development? I think he talked about it, but you can still talk about it again.
Yeah. So for Java, if you're talking about Java, like Java is a language on its own. So that's a separate word, except that's a separate word from like talking about it in the scope of Android development. So, but here in Zuri, we're only going to be teaching you Java for Android. But if you want to pursue other, if you want to use Java for other career choices in development, yeah, Java can also be used for other things. So it's a general purpose language. But we're only going to be doing Android here.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. So, guys, any question that you feel you still need clarification, no need to repeat them. Once the class is set in earnest, you get answers to them. This particular class session, is just for you to get conversant with all the things that you are going to learn, that you can learn, and then you make an informed decision. So another question here is, please, what of we that have low-end PC? Can we still venture into mobile development? So, like we too, I have that question. We that use low end, can we still do mobile?
Yes. So low end, Well, the thing is, the stronger your machine, the better. But you can't really know for sure until you try it and see how well things run on your laptop or your machine. So yeah, you just probably have to wait and see.
I don't know if I have to add to that actually. Personally for me, I know I ventured into Android development. I used my phone for I think the first 5 or 6 months. So I learned on my phone actually. So because there are online platforms, Repair.it, several other platforms, even SoloLand that you can use to use your device and then you get to do Java, do Kotlin, do whatever. And then you have more like a platform for you to do all of those. So definitely you need a PC. It's actually the best route to take. But you don't really need a supercomputer. Anything that can make your machine process. Besides, you can only use normal VS Code or whatever and then do your Java. But when it comes to Android development itself, you need something a bit advanced. That's why you need the Android Studio to run, but not really a supercomputer. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that awesome addition. So I hope we're getting it. So if you have your mobile phone, yeah, you can be a very good um, mobile level. It's called mobile development, I think. So there's another question. During the mobile development, are we going to run a practical project like designing an app? I think this question should answer itself. Um, about what do you think? What do you have to answer? But I know the question is self-explanatory.
I didn't really hear the question. I'm sorry.
During the mobile development, are we going to run a practical project like designing an app?
Oh yeah, definitely,
Thank you
definitely.
very much. So, can Eclipse be used for mobile development?
For Eclipse, well, I would not encourage it. I mean, it's used to be used. Oh shit, what did I say? It was. I think it's phased out. Basically, that's what I'll just say. Yeah. So please don't use Eclipse. Thanks.
Okay. So you've introduced in modern IDEs, right, that you can use for development.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for a product designer that is also a product manager developing an application and wants to know the intricacy of how his design would be developed on mobile, do you recommend joining the mobile class? So Ima Uboho
Um.
Robert can answer too.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
but
sorry.
yeah, anyone,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead, Emma.
Okay, sorry, I didn't quite get your question.
So the question is for a product designer that is also a product manager developing an
Okay.
application and wants to know the intricacy of how his design would be developed on mobile. Do you recommend joining this mobile class?
Okay. For me, practically, you don't really need to be a mobile developer to understand UI design. So UI design has to do with experiences, touch points, emotions, and all of
No, no,
that.
no, no,
So,
no, no. I think you are getting. He's saying he's already a UI designer or product designer.
okay.
Do you recommend him joining mobile so that he can understand how it works, how mobile?
No, you don't need to. It's the same time I'm saying you don't need to program to know how mobile work. You don't need to. You understand? You can, there are certain platform you go to, you can get training. You just need to learn about user experience. You understand? You use a mobile phone, you already know that definitely when you want to access certain items on your phone, you need to come through a drawer or you need to come through certain things. You just need to know that. Not that you need to. If you start programming, most of the time you may not end up a UI person again. So you just start programming. So if you know you want to be a designer, be a designer. You want to be a programmer, be a programmer.
Okay, thank you very much. Tom, you can unmute. I see your hand up.
Can you hear me? Good
Yeah, we can
afternoon,
hear you.
everyone. Okay, so I eventually answered the question, but like you said, Soph, I think the person was trying to find out if he can probably transition into being a mobile developer, so they understand how you implement the design into, I mean, the mobile app or something, basically. So that was why I used the word transition. If that person wants to transition, then yeah, it's okay. But if the person wants to remain a designer, then like he said, you just maintain that part. You really don't have to bother yourself about intricacies.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that. I'm a designer, so I don't know. I don't think I know jack about developing mobile applications, but I've designed tons of mobile applications. So it mustn't be a mobile application developer to be a good designer. So just like Imam mentioned, just know the basics, just know your user experience and all. So we're going to take we're going to take 5 more questions, and let's hope we can answer them under a minute. So I know Flutter can be used for Android. Sorry, I think I skipped one question. Please, what languages are required for cross-platform development? I think let's just give a simple answer. Albert, yeah.
For Zuri, we're teaching Flutter. So for Flutter, we are just using that.
That, okay. So the that is not THAT, it's DART, right?
Yeah, DART.
Yeah. So I'm sure some people will think that you're talking about that. I know Flutter can be used for Android, iOS, and web apps. I'm trying to position myself to work in a big big tech companies like Google. So do you think that they will employ a mobile developer who uses Flutter?
Well, I mean, it was Google that built Flutter. Well, they were the one that started the project. So yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, you should be able to get jobs anywhere.
That wasn't convincing.
It wasn't. No, don't worry. No, okay. Let me make it convincing. Yes, you can work anywhere. As long as they use Flutter or they use that, you should be able to work anywhere.
Exactly. So that's what I want to hear. So is it compulsory to have a background knowledge in backend development before joining the mobile development track? Noel, please.
You don't
okay.
at all. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Noel, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, you don't need to have any background in backend or any track in general. You can just go head on into mobile development and Excel.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that what you wanted to say when you raised your hand?
Yes, I wanted to answer the question. That was why it was up my hand.
Okay, no problem. So I will include you in answering. You answer the next 2 questions. But Tom, you want to say something? Okay, so let's assume your hand was
Sorry.
okay.
Yes, it has been up all the while, so it's going down now.
So Albert, people have been complaining that your voice is low. So maybe you would have increased your voice. So in Flutter, can a Windows system, I think that's what the person wants to say, run iOS emulator when creating app for iOS? Noel, please, can you answer that?
No, you would need a Mac to be able to run an iOS simulator. You can't build for iOS on a Windows PC.
Yeah. So if you use a Windows PC like us, please stay away from iOS development. Can a total beginner decide to learn mobile? I think this is the last question we are going to take. So can a total beginner decide to learn mobile development without first learning front or back end? I think we've answered something like this.
Yes, I mentioned it in my previous answer. No, you don't need to have any prior knowledge of programming. You can start your programming journey as a mobile developer. I would say that I did. So I'm a living example that you can actually start your career journey as a mobile developer and you do just great.
Great. Thank you very much. I think we've exhausted most of the questions. Most of the questions I'm saying here are repetitions. We've exhausted. This video will be on YouTube. So you also subscribe and will rewatch it after this session, and you can, if you have any other question, they will be treated in the mobile development class. So we still have one more presentation to go, and that is the front end presentation. Who is handling that?
Yeah, I'm the one doing that.
Okay, yeah, Tomiwa. So Tomiwa Ajayi will take us through the nitty-gritties of front-end development and what you're expected to know and learn during this program. So Tomiwa, over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
All right, great. So this afternoon I'll just be doing a. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'll be doing a brief introduction.
There's static on your PC.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. So I'll be doing a brief introduction to front-end development, and yeah, so we'll just move with the slides. So, right, so we're talking about what is front-end development. We're talking about who a front-end developer is. We're talking about the different front-end technologies and tools. We'll talk about the career opportunities in the front end, right? So so basically, front-end development is, I'll just read through this, practice of building websites and building web applications that users are able to interact with. So before I go on, basically front-end development is developing for the web. So code that lives in the browser. Right? So you want to go to the site, you want to do something, anything you want to do, you get to do it in the browser. So
Tomiwa, please, can you increase your volume?
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, and also, can you try to present, like click on present on your screen so that people can see it your screen fully.
All right, is that clear?
Yeah, better.
All right.
And your
So,
audio is better, so continue.
all right, thanks. So basically building applications for the web. So practice of building websites and web applications that users are able to interact with and make use of for different stacks, ranging from education for different purposes. And then basically, this last part is key. It says front-end development involves building the visual aspects of the websites that a user can see and experience, right? I think I'll just want to do a quick example for that right now. So here, right, this is Apple's website, right? And so everything that you can see, the visual part of it, I mean, if you click buy now, it will probably take you to somewhere where you're buying something, and then there's logic. All that is not running on the front end, right? But being able to click a button, getting to hover on it and it's underlining, basically everything you can see here, right, is a front end developer's job, right? So let's continue our presentation. Okay. So second. Right? So I'm talking about qualities of a front-end developer. So he's a skilled person in building web pages. Then he architects and develops websites and applications using web technologies. As we go on, we'll be talking about the different web technologies we have that are necessary for a front-end developer to know. Then says here that it prioritizes user experience. So how a user gets to experience a website, the whole feeling and experience on the web page, right, is up to the front-end developer to make sure that it implements them properly. So collaborates with designers to bring concept to life with HTML, CSS, and JS. And these three here are mainly the three main technologies that are necessary for every front-end developer to like master. Right. So sorry. He collaborates with the backend developer to add functionalities to the website. So as a front-end developer, you're getting designs from the UI UX person, from a UI UX designer, and you're converting them, right? And if there's some logic that is meant to be run in the web, you're collaborating with backend developers to integrate the backend logic into the front end, right? So here we have commonly used tools. We have VS Code, Sublime Text, GitHub, Chrome Developer Tools, and many others, right? So Visual Studio is a text editor. So that's where you write your code. I think I'll just please show something regarding to that. Here, so this kind of place here is where you get to write code for all your code, right? So that's VS Code there. So we have, says GitHub. So GitHub is a versioning tool and also for collaborating with other developers, right? So this here is GitHub. Then we have Chrome developer tools. So if you quickly go here, right? Here is where you have Chrome developer tools. I mean, when you're just trying to develop for the web, I'm not going into anything deep. I'm just trying to show you what these things are, right? So I'll continue with the presentation, right? I'll continue with the presentation right now. So the main technologies, as I said earlier, we have HTML, we have CSS, we have JavaScript. So HTML is known as hypertext markup language. So this is the basic building block of every website, right? So it's more or less like the skeleton of, like, take for example, the human body. It is the skeleton of the human body, right? Without it, on top of the skeleton, every other thing is added. So you have the flesh, the clothes, and all those other things. Then probably how the leg moves and all those things. So HTML is skeleton. Then say CSS is the skin, looks, how the person looks. Then JavaScript, probably logic for movement. How does it move? I mean, you can't walk your legs when you're walking. The movement is forward, is not backward. So all those things, the logic. We're talking JavaScript, right? And yeah, I think I want to quickly do a quick demo at this point, right? So remember the Apple website I opened earlier. So here we have this, and there's HTML, there's CSS, there's JavaScript running in this, right? So this here is the mix of the three of them. So if I'm to disable CSS for this website, all right, so this is how this website looks only with HTML. So after writing HTML, sorry, let me just bring that back up. Bam. All right, so with HTML alone, this is how this website looks. And I mean, it's not necessarily pleasing to the eye, right? But this is still necessary. This is the foundation for the website, right? And then when I enable styles back, right? When I enable styles back, this is how the website is looking. So from HTML, when you add CSS, you're adding styling to your website. So you're adding some visual beauty to your website. Then you can now write JavaScript, and then your that would just be talking about the logic or probably complex animations that are running here. So moving on with the presentation, right? So as I said, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what are career opportunities? We have web developer. I think web development is a general term for developing web applications. So I think it's not restricted to front end, right? It will also be back end or a mix of both. They are all referred to. It's a global name for anybody that develops for the web. Then front end engineer, someone whose focus is primarily on client side logic, right? They also work with HTML, CSS, but they are heavily focused on JavaScript logic in the browser. Then UI developer, they are mainly focused with developing UI. So taking designs and building the designs with HTML and CSS mainly. They also write JavaScript for some of the styling and all that, but they are heavily focused on the user interface. Right, so we have, there's a huge demand for front-end developers as organizations are looking for ways to enhance their websites with rich visuals and powerful interactions of the web, right? So, I mean, there's huge salaries that are associated with this. Then there's job security. Then, as I said, there's web development, UI development, front-end engineering, then quality assurance. Quality assurance are people that are in charge of testing code, testing that everything that you've written is working properly, right? They are not limited to the front end, more even inclined to the back end, but they write tests, different types of tests. That's just a holistic view of what it is, right? So I think at this point I'll just like take questions, right? And these are some of the mentors that will be putting you through this internship. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, Tomiwa. Although some people are complaining that you are too fast, at some point your volume was not that loud.
I'm sorry.
But no problem. So the video, as I said earlier, will always be on YouTube, so you can always go back. So we're going to use the remaining time to take questions, and also we're going to have a summary of rules for the internship. So there you have little do's and don'ts. So after the questions, we're going to take that. So the first question here is, this question is not only for Tomiwa, any front-end mentor that feels that he or she can give answers to that can just raise your hand, then you can take the question. So what's the difference between front end and UI UX?
Okay, so I think I would like to present to show something. Is that fine?
Okay, just make it quick, please.
Yeah, sure, definitely quick. Can you see this?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so I think earlier Zelos mentioned that the design collaboration tool for this program is Figma, right? So this is more or less like a mock-up of a website, just design and everything, right? And in the sense of this is the implementation of what we have in that design here, right? So the person that developed this design is the UI UX person, and the person that gets to take this design to something that lives on the web is a front-end developer, right? Now there's another question that says, can you be both? Yes, you can be both, right? And you can do both very well. They tend to even go hand in hand. Some people that start as UI UX people learn HTML and CSS as time goes on, and they do both very well.
Thank you very much for that answer. So how did you disable? I think the two questions are the same. How what's the difference, and can the front end be also be a UI? You have taken both of them. So how did you disable CSS from the Apple website?
Oh, I used a web extension for that.
Okay, what's the name, please?
Chrome Web Developer.
Yeah, so so the person that is asking, so if you have Chrome Web Developer, you can disable, make your favorite, the most beautiful website ugly. So from your presentation, does it mean that a UI developer is solely leaning on CSS and HTML?
I think Moto should answer that question.
Okay, so a UI developer doesn't solely work with HTML and CSS. It's advisable to always know JavaScript, even though most of your work tools are related to HTML and CSS, but you're not solely working with HTML and CSS. There are some certain things that you need to implement, and you might not be able to implement it with HTML and CSS. You would have to use JavaScript. So from experience, you can't rely solely on HTML and CSS. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. What frameworks are we going to be learning?
So for this internship, it's totally for beginners, right? So we are focusing mainly on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. However, in the project phase, it depends. We might use React if at all we are using any framework.
Okay, thank you very much. So what's the difference between a web developer and a front-end engineer, or front-end developer and a front-end engineer?
Sorry, before that answer is taken, right? React will be taken for front-end development. Sorry, that was a mistake on my part. React, yes.
Okay. So what's the difference between a web developer and a front-end engineer? Or a front-end developer and a front-end engineer? Are they different? Are they the same?
Can I answer this question?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead. Develop.
Okay. Front end and a web developer is someone that creates websites, and a front end engineer is the same thing as front end developer. So a front end engineer, a developer can also be a mobile developer. It just has to do with the front end, doesn't have to do with any back end or anything else. Web development is different from mobile development. Front end developer is different from back end development.
Okay. I hope that explains it. Wumi, do you have any other addition to that?
No.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, let me add. Sorry, let me add to that. Okay, so for the front-end engineer, front-end developer, they're both like the same person. It's just the names that are just different, but they are doing the same thing. So the difference between the web developer and front-end developer is that for the front-end developer, you're just concentrating on the front-end part of the website. But for the web developer, yes, you are concentrating both on the front end and the back end. That means you'll be able to build a website from end to end. You're not going to be sharing any role while building a website. You can do everything, both the front end and both the both the front end and the back end. You can do that. But front end, you're physically excuse me, you're focusing basically on the front end part, which is your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript aspect of the development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's hope that did not confuse them the more. Um, can can a with just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, can one land a front-end job?
Yes. Actually, yes. It depends on where you're applying to, and depends on the person that is looking for a job. So, and it depends. Yes, you can. That's just the answer.
Okay. So as a front-end developer, what are the technical and additional skills required?
Technical skills, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then, most times you will not be working alone, so you need to know Git. What else? You need to on web optimization. There's a lot of things. I think, does someone else want to answer this question?
Who? Okay, Wumi.
All right.
Okay, and I feel as a front-end developer, you need to have design thinking, because sometimes a client or an employer can tell you to come up with a design by yourself. So you need to know how to come up with designs rather than waiting for a UI developer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. I think that answers that. So can a front-end developer always collaborate with a mobile developer?
Sorry, let me answer that. So when you say a front-end developer collaborates with mobile developer, I would have said they will collaborate if they are working on the same platform. But regardless of what you are building, right? Your mobile developer is working on a platform, on an application for mobile devices, and the tools you're using to build your mobile application is different from the tools you're using to build your front-end application. So the only point of collaboration is going to be the engineering aspect, just to make sure that the user experience that people have using the web version of that product is the same thing for the only major collaboration that you have, but for sharing that has a collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So I'm just trying to skim through. We've answered most of them. Just repetition. Okay, as it's a front-end developer, what are the necessary apps needed? What are the apps needed?
Apps.
Okay, Wumi, can you take that? Tommy, just wait a little.
Okay, you don't really need applications. You need your text editor, like Tomwa said, your VS Code, Sublime Text, or WebStorm if you're opportune. Then your GitHub, your Google Developer tool. Basically, that's what you need. You don't need anything serious. In fact, if you don't even have a laptop, you can still use a phone to start up learning front-end development.
Yeah, and also you need a cybercaf, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think they said you need a browser too. So if you don't have a browser, you can't develop on the web. Just like you don't have an iOS, you can't build an iOS application. So there's a long question. So I'm going to try to read it out. So how do front-end developers translate Figma stroke Adobe designs into code for websites? Are they hard-coded from scratch after seeing the designs, or is a copy and paste from Figma stroke Adobe? This person must be like me. Loves easy way. Okay. The boss, Damilola, can you shed more light on that?
Okay. For your front end, for when you have this design, how you translate your design to what's it called? How you translate your design basically depends on your experience with front-end development majorly. For Figma, there is on the Figma app, there is a section where you can see like a CSS translation of most of the features on the design. So you can definitely get some hints from there. But those CSS are just bare. When I say bare, it means that it's not like something that you would expect you copy over and then you get exactly what you need. Because the CSS are based on Figma positioning or the position of the that particular design on Figma. So usually it would not just come out fine. So most of the things you might just get are maybe the font size, the color, and the assets, maybe images that you are using on the design. But most of the time when you are doing the positioning, that will be basically up to you. So you will need to, so your experience with front-end development will now help you out in knowing, okay, what position you have to put that on the web, and now it will come out fine. So most of the time you have to do some hard coding for yourself. Most of the things you get from your Figma or Adobe is usually just some tools to help you bring out the design. I think that answers that question.
Yeah, thank you very much for that answer. So I think I use Figma, so I can tell that I can attest to, and I used to do a little HTML and CSS. I can attest to this. It doesn't work automatically, so you have to hard code most of the processes. So if you are fortunate to also see the code exactly, you can copy. If not, you have to code it yourself. That's what you are being trained for. So yeah, I think we've answered this question. What frameworks are we learning? I think we've taken that. What's the difference between a software developer, wow, and a front-end developer? What's the difference between a software developer and a front-end developer? Who is taking
Okay,
the
let me
question?
answer this too as well.
Okay.
It's just like Motu answered when we were talking about the web developer. A software developer is both a front end and back end developer. Like when you just develop softwares. So when you say software developer, you can be a front end developer and call yourself a software developer. You can be a back end developer and say you are a software developer. You are developing softwares. So it's just to be more specific or to be more streamlined. That's when you now see people talking about front end, back end, to know which specific part of the software you are developing. So software is more like a general name we give to everything.
Okay. Thank you very much for that clarification. So software is like can develop games, anything that is not hardware is software. If you're developing it, if it's soft, cannot touch it. It's software development. But front end is more for the web and mobile, or anything that just like they mentioned, anything that you can interact with that doesn't have to deal with the back. I think that's the easiest way to explain it right now. So, but once you start working in your class, different classes, you will learn that. So I think this is the end of the questions. Questions. Okay.
Chukwemeka.
Yeah.
Yeah. The previous question that you said, the person was not asking what frameworks. The person said, "What are frameworks?"
Okay. Sorry, you can take that, please. Sorry about that.
Okay. So in explaining frameworks, take for example, if you want to build a small house with Lego blocks, right? You can just go ahead and build your house with Lego blocks. But take for example, the house that you're living in, if you want to build that with Lego blocks, it will take years because pieces are like very, very small. So imagine someone has already made big blocks with those tiny, tiny blocks, right? So you're now building your house with those big blocks, right? I mean, rudimentarily for those big blocks, it's still those Lego blocks, but they've already been arranged in such a way that you can just take them as big chunks and put them there. So it's more or less like creating abstractions when you're trying to build something at scale. So all different languages have their different frameworks, right? So JavaScript has its own. Just know that different languages have their own frameworks, and you can easily check Google and check more on that.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I think that's the end of this session. We are going to answer. We are going to share some of the rules that we are going to be adhering by throughout the course of this program. So those rules are very, very important for all of us to enjoy the workspace and also for us to enjoy the workspace in general. So I'm going to be sharing my screen to show some of those rules, and we're going to. You can see my screen right about now. These are some of the rules, and each rule has its own punishments. So you can see this asterisk here shows the punishment for each of the rules. So some have double, some have one, some have three. So just like when they give you a red card in a match, there's something that you do, a foul that you do, they will give you a red card. So some of the workspace rule, you are required to have a photo that clearly shows your face as a display picture. Yes, this is very, very important. You can see it has double asterisk, so it's double yellow card, and it's you know what is called. So let's go over to the let's see what the star means. So so the first star is probation, second star is disqualification, the third star is permanent ban from the program. So you see where each one falls on as we read them. So you should also have a username that is unique to only you. There should be no spaces or emojis included in your username. This is very, very important because your grading and every other thing depends on this. So also your progress tracker depends on this. The third one is that your full name should be your real name. There's nothing like JJ for real is your name. No, it has to be your real name, so that when your certificate is being given to you, it will carry your real name. No form of harassment will be tolerated in the workspace. Please report any form of harassment to any of the mentors. This is 3-star. So this is like giving you giving you life ban from the match. So hate speech towards race, religion, gender, orientation, disability, etc. is highly prohibited. 3-star. Username with emojis are all mentors. They will all be later introduced. You are not allowed to use emojis except when instructed to do so. So maybe when you win a special something, you'll be asked to use an emoji. So this one is just 1-star. Always follow the instruction given by the mentors. This one is 1-star. They should have been 3-star. So no form of violence will be tolerated. Do not fight. Yes, you may say it's not a physical space, but you should not fight or cyberbully anyone in the workspace. So you should not use abusive words and rain down abuses on others, no matter the channel. To not be taken lightly. 2-star. So Zuri is not affiliated with any group outside the workspace. This is very important. This workspace is the only official communication medium for this training. And you should not post links asking people to join the group from outside the workspace. So asking people to join groups outside the workspace, like, I don't know whether it has started happening, but you may start seeing it. Some people posting WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, and Discord groups that you should join. Maybe people in a particular village will say they want their villagers to be in one group. It's not, those platforms are not official platforms. So you should not do that. Marketing and promotions will not be tolerated in the workspace. There's nothing like marketing your goods and services. If you're in the program for marketing, you can also go to Facebook and pay for Facebook ads to run your ads. Do not look down on anyone. We are all here to learn. This should be easy for all of us. We are all learners. Disrespect in any form will not be tolerated. Then the 13, when sending a message to a mentor, be specific about your request or entries. Avoid unnecessary conversations, or don't just send pleasantries. You will likely not be responded to. You see, this one doesn't have any punishment. The only punishment that is that you will likely not be responded to. It's just like coming to someone's DM and telling the person hi or good afternoon. I don't know what's good about the afternoon when you have not solved your problem. So so there are also channel rules. So these are like the workspace rules. And the channel rules, the most important channel in the whole workspace is the announcement channel, right? So all the whole information that you need, let's say you mistakenly slept for 2 days and you just woke up, the first place you should go to is the announcement channel. So always check announcements for important announcements. That's cliche. So do not post on the channels. All random posts should be made on random. The channels acts on the all introductions should be made on introduction channel. All questions should be asked on the mentor help channel. All resources should be shared on the resource channel. So you see all those channels, those are open channels. Posting on any other channel that is restricted for just mentors. So we have these channels. Other postings should be restricted to mentors. Always read instructions and pinned messages in every channel. So as we go further, we'll see different channels created for different classes. So always read pinned messages. So no pinning of posts to channels. You are not allowed to put pin or unpin posts on any channel. So if you think anyone should be pinned, you should reach out to a mentor. Ask questions when necessary, and only use threads. Do not post directly on the channel or send your posts. So there are some exceptions to this, like random channel. You can be as random as you want. So, but on other channels, reply in threads. It makes everyone to be happy. You can't just have all the whole fans running into the team. So you have only 11, 22 players and the referee. So everybody cannot crowd the team, the stadium. So everybody reply on that thread and everyone will be fine. So the derogatory remarks will not be tolerated on any channel, including random. So in as much as random is random, we should also be respectful. Political or anti-government discussions are not permitted. You see that this has 3 star. We are not here to campaign for anybody or to talk against any political party. It's not what we are here for. You are not allowed to change channel descriptions. So once it's been set by the mentor, you should not change them. Do not spam channels with irrelevant contents. Invitation to channels will be done strictly by mentors except stated otherwise. Then 12, do not post sexual stroke offensive or closely related content or contents banned in your country in the workspace. So many countries have things banned there. You should not post them and everybody will be fine. So there are tax rules. Always submit your tax when the dedicated time is up. Everybody should know this. Plagiarism will not be tolerated. Someone was asking about hard coding and copying. That's how it starts. Plagiarism is not accepted. Do not copy someone's work as your own. We will know. There's no how you will know. So don't do that. You are not allowed to complete a task for anyone. You can only guide or support. So take note of that. Do not copy or submit, and we've talked about this. Cheating is highly prohibited. So it has to be mentioned 3 times for you to know how serious it is. Always follow the instructions given by your facilitator for every task. So failure to adhere to these rules will result in probation, disqualification, or permanent ban from this training or subsequent ones. So your name will enter the black book and you don't want to enter there. So probation means that you will be removed from all the channels and sent to a probation channel. If you get sent to probation 3 times, you'll be disqualified from a training and removed from the workspace. If you get a permanent ban, you will be blacklisted and not allowed to join any training or internship affiliated with Zuri. So I think these are just the rules. They are simple. Anyone can adhere to them. Let's not try to make other person's life unbearable. We'll have a fun time. So this is just what we have to share for today. You should keep a date with us again the same time tomorrow. We're going to have other presentations like the UI UX and the other tracks that have not been touched. So we have an idea of what we are going to learn and make choices that will be great for us. So that's actually the end of this live class session. If you have, is there any other thing, Shay, that we have not touched? Okay. So in the absence of that, I think this should be the end. So thank you very much for attending. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Mario,